Oh, sorry about that. I got logged up somehow. Can you, can you hear me, ma?
Okay, so we're live. We're
Hello.
live. Yes, yes, yes,
Hi,
yes.
hi. Hello, Coach
Hello.
Brenda.
Good afternoon, good evening to everyone who's joined us today. My name is Brenda Unu, and I'm live on another episode of your favorite program, Women's Matters. And with me today, I have the lovely and delectable Dr. Chimson Ogu, my fellow masterpiece woman. If you're a masterpiece woman in the house, say hi. And I'm so excited to have you here today, Dr. Chimson. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Um,
Excited. We're
I'm
excited. We're excited to have
trying to
you
be calm.
too. I
Yes.
please. On this show, we are allowed to misbehave. We don't used to comport ourselves. We are feel free to be ourselves. And this is one place where you are allowed to completely toot your horn. So typically the way we introduce our guests, we allow you to introduce yourself. You're going to tell us about yourself. This is one place you're allowed to be proud. There's no humility in this place. Tell us who you are, everything about you, from even your middle name, government name, whatever it is you want to share with us, and just tell us everything that we need to know about you and why we should be excited to listen to you now. So please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Coach Brenda, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to join you, ma. Okay, I'm Dr. Chimsom Ogu. I'm a doctor in dermatology. I work in the teaching hospital in Enugu. And I also am the founder of the Skin and Confidence Consult, where we help you not just glow. I've realized a lot of our patients, they come in and they say, Doctor, there's one thing on my face. And I'm looking, there's nothing. When you do a deep dive, you realize that it's not just about the face, it's coming from
Mm,
within. So we don't just treat your skin conditions, we help you glow truly from inside out. So that's basically what I do. And, hustle, we do many other things, but that's
mm.
basically what it is about me.
I love it. I love it. I mean, dermatology is that's aspect of medicine where people don't really get to talk about too much. I mean, my son had an issue with his scalp, and we got referred to dermatologists. Before that, I don't think I've ever seen one in my life. So, I mean, I like the way that you have anchored your own clinic, which is not only just skin deep, you're also helping them to deal with, esteem issues and confidence issues. And truly, 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 women do go through a lot. And so I'm sure that is possibly what led you to picking this topic, because if you are new to this show, you know that what we do is we share our topics and then our guests pick the one that resonates best with them. So tell us, why did this topic resonate with you and why did you go
Uh,
for it?
Topic is topic here because it's something that I have been through and I've
Mm,
overcome. It speaks to me, like it expresses
right.
my journey so far, especially like in medicine and the issues I've had, and I've come out on top. So I feel like it's something that people need to address consciously, be aware of. Sometimes we're not even aware of the fact that we have
Mm.
this imposter syndrome, and also it's personal for me. I've been through it. I've walked the journey and I've come out on top. So once you come in, I was like, where are we doing it? I'm outside, let's come back. So
Let's go.
that's the space I am in right now. So yes,
I
that's
love
why
it.
I the topic.
I love it. I mean, this is something that most women can relate with. Many of us, at some point or the other in our lives, we have suffered. Some of us are still suffering. Some of us are still coming out of it. It's just a journey that most people go through. And I now seem to wonder, why is it such a plague for women? Why is it a woman's thing? I mean, doctor, tell us, is it a woman's thing, or are we just the ones that are just overthinking
I
things?
don't I don't think it's a woman's thing. I think it happens because of many things. I think men also suffer it, but they have a way of because they come out looking bold, the macho thing, they kind of cover it up. So I don't think it's only about women, but yes, women more because we are concerned about what people think about us, how people see us,
Mm,
not always appear together perfect. We always
mm,
feel
Mm.
that need to have everything put together. So sometimes we start to question, ourselves when we are actually, able to do what we think we are not able to do. So
Mm.
it can stem from many things, the way you were brought up, childhood trauma, if you were brought up in a home where you were not allowed to fail and you were criticized. So I think it affects everybody, both men and women.
Mm.
If you were in a house where you were always praised, only for being the best, for doing, standing out and all. So it's affects everybody, but women more because we are more concerned about how we look and how people perceive us. It affects us, or we are more emotional than men. So men have a way of shrugging it off, but for
Yeah.
us, it's more emotional. It's an
Yes.
emotional thing. So we add all our emotions and everything together, to
And we now make it a lot bigger than
exactly
it
bigger
really
than
is.
it actually is. So
Mm.
that's what I
Mm.
think.
Okay. Okay. No wahala. I understand that. Right. And I mean, for me, imposter syndrome, first of all, let's even start by breaking down the word. This is a big word. Some people may be saying, what are these big English? Please explain to us in simple terms, right? It's not medical jargon. It's not, any scientific thing, just simple terms. What does it really mean? And how can, the average woman spot it if they are suffering from this imposter syndrome?
So what's imposter syndrome? Generally, is like feeling like you don't deserve, where you are or the position that you've been given, or that you're not good enough, as good as people may think you are. And then
Mm,
sometimes you also feel like, what if they find out that I'm a fake?
mm,
It's you just have that in your head. So that's generally what it means. You don't feel qualified enough. Somebody's telling you can do this thing. Yeah, they are pushing you to do that. You're telling yourself, what if I fall on stage? What if this happens? It just keeps ringing
mm.
in your head. But however,
The
you've
many
actually
what
earned your
ifs.
place. You actually deserve to be there. But the man in your head doesn't let you, see it. So because of that, you shrink and you shake, you dodge from opportunities, you don't want to do anything, you hide yourself and hide what you have. So
Mm,
I think that's basically what it means.
yeah, I agree. I mean, and to be honest, like we said, most people have suffered it before, or have suffered, or are suffering it, or have something close. I'm sure as many as possible can relate to one time in their lives when they were called up to do something and you thought, no, I can't do that. Surely it's not me they're calling. Surely this is not for people like me. And it stems from, like you said, maybe some things that has happened to you as a child where people had said, oh no, not you, or you can't do this, you can't do that. Maybe when you hear can't too many times, when you now start even being able to do it, you start saying, is it me? And it shows up in simple things like even when people compliment you, and so it's just say
Exactly.
thank you. You're like, please, okay, it's not me, and you're always deflecting, always trying to deflect praise, always trying to deflect compliments, and just so that you don't want to. And where does this come from, though? Where does this come from? This false sense of humility, where is it coming from? And how do we get it out of our systems?
I think that there are a lot of things that lead to you feeling inadequate. Like a lot of things that I would say you not giving yourself permission to shine. Let me put it that way. One of them is, like I said, you were criticized as a
Mm,
child. Another one is you were told you were not enough. Another one is growing up in an environment where mistakes are not allowed, and also always being the first to do something. You're going out of your comfort zone. Nobody else around you has done it, so you're afraid. You feel like, oh, why would it now be me? And maybe people
mm,
around, there are voices in your head that tell you that you couldn't do that thing. Then, if you're a perfectionist, you feel like, oh, something is not yet right. I can't, come and show myself, you know. And
mm,
then also when you start to compare yourself with other people, like this person is better than me. For example, you're supposed to speak and you're sitting there and you're looking at another person speaking. You're like, hey, can I speak like this person? Can I do that? Just goes
mm,
through your head. And then one thing, funny enough, is being surrounded by people that you admire because they've set a bar. And then you're looking at them and you're
mm,
like, yeah, it's a good thing to be surrounded by people you admire, but you're looking at them like, yeah. Can I ever get there? So
Mm,
you keep, bringing out your own achievements. And then
mm,
also another thing I can consider is entering bigger space for, okay, for like myself, um, when I was in medical school, I failed a class and repeated.
mm,
So I don't know if you're not in the medical space, medical being working in a medical environment can be akin to being in boarding house, even when you're done with school. So you have seniors, juniors, and it is very serious.
mm,
Seniority is very serious. So I failed the medical school. I repeated the class. Do you understand?
mm,
And I now had to be with people that felt that, the smart people in SS. So I repeated the class and we got to the next class. I was now put in a class. We're giving classes based on, your score. So if you had a high
okay.
score, you had to be in the A class, E class, C class. Somehow, after I repeated, I made it to the A class. And in
Oh,
that A
wow.
class, those were supposed to be the high flyers, of the class. But, I was a repeater in the high flyer class. So I didn't think I deserved to be there. Even though I
Mm,
passed the exam, I wrote the exam and I passed. But because I was a repeater, I know the way university is. They're already
mm,
looking down on, oh, repeater. So it just goes here. So even when they ask a question, then I know the answer. I'm afraid to say it because
mm.
what if it's wrong? And somebody else says the answer and it's correct. It was what I was thinking. I'm like,
What
I
you
should have just.
thinking?
So that actually affected me for a long time. I
Mm,
started working, residency. I always felt like the people around me were better than me. I always had that at the back of my head just because of that
mm.
one incident,
Then you
of
repeat, you
when I
failed the
said
course.
in class. So
Mm,
I had to I had to identify first. It
mm,
affected me so much that I even failed an exam because even going for that exam, I didn't believe I could pass it. So I
mm.
failed the exam. And so it can be deep. It can be, deep seated. If you're not careful, it will dictate the course of your life. If you
Right.
don't find it out, then you have a problem and you will never achieve what you're, meant to achieve. So it's a
Mm.
big
It's a big issue. It's a big issue. Not believing that you're worth something. And like from your own experience, it was a case of you failed an exam. And you know how the thing is, the way that society has made us feel as if yeah, failed, yeah, it's all over. And life, it should also teach us. Instead, we should learn that failure is just a part of the journey. It's not an end in itself. It's what you do with the failure that determines who you are. Imagine if you had thrown your hands in the air and said, I can never be a doctor. Oh, I failed this course. Oh, it's all over for me. And maybe you went to go and change to, I don't know, some other biological science, you wouldn't be the doctor you are today. And so, regardless of what anybody thinks, the fact that you failed, you held yourself high and could continue is a big deal, right? It's a big deal. And I think that you've explained how over and over the thing caused you to start to feel a bit less of yourself, think that, oh, I don't know, sure, in different ways for different people and in different spaces. I mean, my own personal imposter syndrome experience was very funny. It was, I was trying to get a job and I had been out of work for like 4 years. So I wasn't really in touch with what the salary scale was, right? And so when I saw this ad, the ad said they were paying 500 to 600,000. That's what it was written. Those ads are right today. So I thought, okay, that's not
Mhm.
bad. I'll take it. Right. So I went in for the interview. So this was not a pre-interview before the main one. This was interview with the recruiters to check whether I was, whether my CV and my experience matched before they passed me on to the actual employers. So we started talking and they asked me questions. I answered very well. They were so excited to meet me. They were like, oh my God, that they had been trying to fill this role since they couldn't find anybody. That, I don't know why women are so hard to find for executive positions. So we talked and talked and talked. And then they asked me, how much would you like to earn? I thought it was a trick question because the ad had said how much they were paying, right? So I was like, how much? Now, I now picked the lower number. I told you it was 500 to 600. I now told them
Mhm.
500,000. Hmm. The recruiter was, she said, what? What can you ask for 500? I was like, I was confused. I was like, maybe that's what the role wants to pay. Like, what's the real problem? I didn't understand what the problem was. She was so mad. She was like, how can you ask for 500,000? Have you seen your CV? I was like, I just showed it to you. Of course, I've seen my CV. She now goes like, do you know what you have? Oh my God. He said, oh, she just said, you know what? If it was a man that had your experience, this experience we just finished explaining, what do you think he would ask for this role? I was like, I don't know, maybe 1.2 million. She got even madder. Oh my God. So you mean your mind can conjure 1.2 million and yet you don't think you deserve it? Oops. It now, he now got to me. She was angry. I was like, oh, okay. Like I didn't even think about it. I didn't know what they were supposed to collect. I did not think about it. I just thought that's what you want to pay. That's okay by me. Let's move on. She schooled me that day and she said, in your life, never ever ask for the first thing that comes off the top of your head. Once you get a number, double it. I said, eh? Are you sure they won't drive me away? She's like, no, but look at it. You just told me now that if it was a man, he would ask for 1.2. Yes, 1.2 will be fair. And they would give him. You know why? Because he would ask with confidence. Look at you. Even to ask for the 600 your mouth is shaking. You're asking for the lower thing. Oh, what is wrong with women? Oh my God. She went on and on and on and on that day. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. It's okay. It's not that deep. But I went home and I thought about it. And I thought about it and I realized that she made a good point, right? I didn't, I didn't think about what I maybe I deserve. I didn't really know what I deserved, to be honest. I knew that I had, explained my experience very well, but I didn't realize that it was worth that much. Do you see? Because number one,
Mhm.
I'd been out of work, so I didn't even know what people were paying anymore. And then number two, but what was funny to her was like when she asked me how much would a man ask for, a figure came to my head. I don't know why.
Mhm.
A number that was more than twice what I asked for came to my head. And that was what was haunting me. Why did I think that a man should ask for 1.2 and I would ask for 500? And I had to go and sit with that revelation for a long while. That was my imposter syndrome experience. I realized that I didn't realize that I was deserving of more. And I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Maybe you just felt you had not been working for some time, so maybe you needed some brush up. Your head was just telling you something else. While, you know, your CV was saying something else.
But
Hello, ma.
that's
Hello, ma. I can't hear you. Is it me? Hello, ma. I think Coach Brenda is out of the stream. I think she'll be back. Okay, so I don't know
yes,
if I'm
sorry.
okay. Okay,
My network went off and I've changed the network. All
okay, ma.
right. I don't know
Okay,
what we said last.
okay. You were talking about, you not thinking that you deserved, you know, the pay. So I was saying that
Hmm.
maybe because
Oh,
you had been
yeah,
out of work for some time, you didn't even feel like you maybe felt like, oh, I needed to, get more experience or work experience. You forgot your CV, you forgot what you had already done. So, you know,
yes,
it played a trick on your your
exactly.
yes. Interesting.
Absolutely. I,
Interesting.
hmm. So every time I remember that experience, I always tell myself, okay, before I ask for anything, I should ask myself, what would the men ask for? What would the men ask for? So that
At the
I
very
don't shoot myself in the
first.
foot.
Yes, because imagine they had given you that job at that price and you don't found out what other people were earning. You would have been sad. You would have been
I would have
sad.
been so sad.
Yeah,
So
because
very sad. Yes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the truth is that it's something that we need to identify and work on it. And me myself, I had to find a way to, some hacks, to help myself go
Okay.
through, overcome it. Because
Share.
I'm telling you, it was a big deal for me. It wasn't just it wasn't
Mm,
just in medical school. I came out, started working, started doing residency. Residency is even worse because I'm
mm,
sure if you've gone to a teaching hospital, you see all of us standing and they ask a question, you cannot answer, they
mm.
insult the health, they insult you, and then you go home and think about your life and how useless you are and how you don't learn to. Maybe they will insult your father and mother. So that's the environment that you do residency. So I still came to residency
Mm,
and I did my first exam, my first professional exam, and I failed it.
mm.
I failed it
Kai.
again and failed it like two times. So I vividly remember after I came back from my first exam, there was a presentation I was supposed to make. Well, it's the worst presentation
Mm.
I've ever done. I was looking at everybody because I had just failed the exam. I just kept telling myself, "Oh, you're not intelligent. You went with these
Mm,
people, and then you failed." So it was going in my head. So okay, well, I have been doing presentations before then, and they were okay.
mm,
But this one, I was looking at everybody, and I had the animosity, I be hate, I be what, I don't know,
mm,
looking at the crowd, and my voice was shaking. Like I was
mm,
sounding like I was about to cry. I was struggling to talk, and that had never happened to me
mm,
before. But I had just come from
mm.
an exam where I failed. So I was talking to professors, my whole department. So I was like,
Yeah.
I don't deserve to be doing this presentation. And it was horrible. Like it was horrible. But
Mm,
when we started this our self-improvement, started to find things, to help me um so for example, one of the things I used to do is that when I get into a room and I'm about to make a presentation,
mm,
when the voice comes to my head, you don't know what you're about to say. And I'll just tell myself, you're the expert here. You're the person that read it yesterday night. Because yeah, even if
mm,
they are professors, but you studied it, they maybe they studied it 10 years ago. Yeah, you have the current thing. So I just psych myself and then
mm.
I
Go
show up.
for it.
When I come into a space and I see someone and I'm like, and I start to feel intimidated. I find
Mm.
something about I look at the person and I'm like, oh, something as stupid as my fingernails are really beautiful. They're better than her own. I'll be like I'll focus on my own fingernails. And that's my focus. So I'll just find
Oh
something.
my God.
I also make sure I see that person and give that person a compliment. So I'll see you, I'll say,
Right.
oh, because I'm like, look for something that I actually like. I'm like, oh, I like your hair. And then,
Mm,
and I was like, and I look at my nails, oh, you find nails. So, you're supposed to be here. So they were not, conventional, but it helped me, move away from always,
yeah.
that was the beginning of me trying to, and I was starting to realize that you feel that you're not good in something, but nobody's good in everything. Nobody is
Nobody.
actually good in everything. You understand? So if you're supposed to
Mm,
show up somewhere and, for example, now if I'm in the medical field now, for example, at work, there are people that are good in cardiology. There are people that are good
mm-hmm.
IT people. They may not be cardiologists, but if you come to, quiz me in cardiology, I'm not a cardiologist. I'm going to
Yeah.
fail. You understand? So, sometimes like this,
Mm-hmm.
I said that sometimes your space can
Mm-hmm.
make you feel like you're not. meant to be in the room. So if you get into a space and somebody is saying something and they're sounding so intelligent and you think that, but it's not, but you are good at making hair. That's your own thing. So if they start to ask questions about making hair, own your
Yes.
they are good at it. So don't allow, that
Uh,
person's or that space intimidates you because they are talking about what they do. There's also something you're an expert at. Find it out and
I
then own it. You're supposed to be there at that time. So I think those are some things I was doing to, help myself,
mm,
show up
I,
irrespective of, where
I
I
love
found
it.
myself. Yes.
Mm. I love it. I want to just jump in with a bit as an example from what you just shared. You know how you said that, we should always just find what you everybody's not good at everything. I remember my kid was, he was struggling with football. He joined the secondary school and all the boys there were fantastic at football. So anytime they wanted to play, they wouldn't pick him. Right. So the first time they picked him, he didn't play as well as he should have because he had only just started. Right. So as a kid, he had this something similar to asthma. So we always used to keep him off the football field. And by the time he agreed, we now said, okay, now you can start playing. So, of course, where other kids had been learning from birth, he was only just learning. So he wasn't as great as they were. And so he wouldn't be picked whenever they wanted to play. And he would come home and be so sad about me. They say I'm a bad footballer. They always laughing at me. They don't want to pick me. And I'm like, shh. So what? Does any of them draw as well as you do? You will
Mhm,
now smile.
mhm,
I was like, can any of them draw as well as you do? So he now started to realize that I said, you are a super artist, super. Like they don't even hold a candle. They can be super footballers, and that's all well and good. Congratulate them. When you get the clap for them, hail them, everything. When you get into your own space, shine. Be the best artist that you can ever be. In fact, I got him a teacher to enhance the arts the more. So when they would do work at school, every time that they had an art class, he this child will bring his own to the front and show everybody. I said, how do those moments make you feel? Say, so good, mommy. I said, own it. Right? Own it. So when you get to the football and you're not shining as well there, he will just be okay and give them grace. I'm like, okay, that's your
mhm,
own shine. That's fine. I'll shine my own in the art class. Right?
mhm.
So everybody needs to understand that you can't be good at everything. But find the thing that you're good at and make sure you're the best good at it ever so that everybody will even sit up and take notes. That's one way to overcome this feeling of, oh, I'm not good enough. Yes, something you're good at. God did not make a mistake with you.
Mhm.
Everybody has something that they're good at. Find it, hone it, and shine in it. And then you'll be able to give yourself grace for the things you're not great at. Just
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Actually, another funny thing I used to do was still do it. Like I come in and if they look so intimidating, I just imagine them sitting on the toilet seat.
sitting on what?
Sitting on the toilet seat. Like I just have a wild imagination.
Like these people
And
are
when
human
I
after
just
all.
smile
They are normal
to my
people.
yeah.
Yes, no.
So the fear somehow the fear just disappears and you just realize super like me, what's the worst that can happen? I can just do this
Mhm.
thing and you just go. Because one thing that we don't realize is that when you start to so let's just imagine that you are a superhero that's supposed to save the world, for example,
Mm,
and you're a
mm,
woman. So and then you have all the power, you have you shoot fire, you do all that, and there's an emergency and you
mm,
need to come and maybe there's a fire, you're supposed to fly and come and burn that fire and
mm,
quench the fire. And then on your way, you now see your ex-boyfriend on the floor. I told you you're not good enough. So now going, now see that teacher that told you, say, your mind will now start telling, hey, what if I cannot, you know, quench this fire? What if I cannot save those
mm,
people? So it's just that if that superhero allows you to overwhelm, them, when they get there,
mm,
people are going to die. They won't have the,
mm.
ability to quench the fire because they are now second
Yeah.
guessing themselves. The truth that when
Mm,
you allow imposter syndrome take over, you shrink yourself because some people are waiting for your voice for them to be saved. So if you have that
mm,
at the back of your mind, that if you don't shine and own your space and come out like you should, some people are going to
mm.
miss something just because you didn't. A generation may be lost just because
Yeah.
you didn't show yourself and come out. So it's also something I put at the back of my mind. when it's something you cannot do this thing, you can't do this thing. The mind is everything. Like it
Mm,
shapes everything. So if you can align your mind and always find something to push you, you can
yeah,
overcome imposter syndrome at any time,
yeah.
anywhere. And it's important that you do because you not doing it may be detrimental to somebody else, your family
Mm,
members, or even to yourself. So it's an important thing
mm,
that we as women actually consciously, you know, come out
mm.
and work on it and all. So
Yeah, I like that. I really like that. To be honest, and this is why we do what we do. This is why we keep on shouting from the rooftop. Is the entire message of my Amplify You campaign that just says that, we need to stand up and make our voices heard because the world is depending on us. God has sent you with a message that is tied to somebody else's breakthrough. And the more you
mhm,
sit on it without going for it, the more that the person loses, the more that the person is unable to, be all that God has called them to be. So at the end of the day, if we remember that this thing is an assignment, it's a sacred duty, it's a call, it's a purpose, something that God has sent you on earth to do, you will realize that imposter syndrome or not, you just get up and be going. Because a lot of us are called. We know that we
sure,
have an assignment. We know that we have a message. We know that there's a burning desire within us to change something in our small environment. It doesn't have to be the entire world, just in our small circle. But you feel as if, hey, they'll say my own is too much.
exactly.
They'll say I've come again. They will say, hey, it's you only me. And you will not keep quiet. But what you
Mhm,
forget is that that's quiet that you have kept. You have robbed somebody because God he has tied some people's destiny to you. Some people are waiting on you to start so that they can move. Some people will never hear that gospel except from your mouth. And so when you don't say anything, when you sit on your arms, sit on the message that the Holy Spirit is burning within you, you are actually robbing the world of the brilliance that only you can bring. Because
exactly.
let's face it, we know that, oh, if you don't get up, God will call somebody else. We know. He will raise up dry bones if he has to. We understand that.
Mhm,
However, there are people that are tied to your message that you will go and answer in heaven for. Why you do not tell them?
mhm,
Because the message will still come out. Somebody else
exactly.
will still do it. You know how many times God has given you something to do, you slow down, then later you wake up and you see somebody else doing it.
Mhm,
It's because it will send another person. It's not even we are many now, 8
mhm,
billion.
mhm,
You send another person.
mhm,
However, you have the ones you are tied to
mhm,
that you answer to God for not sharing message to. So don't think if you have escaped to because you saw somebody else doing it. Mm-mm. You haven't.
mhm.
You have been called. You have been
Yeah,
called. And even if you're afraid, know this today. You have been called. You know who I'm talking to knows. Whoever
exactly.
whoever we're talking to,
Exactly. Exactly. The truth is that even the Bible in Isaiah says we should forget former things. And God says, see, I'm doing a new thing. So
Mm,
imposter syndrome is based on the things that happened in the past those times. So the old things that happened, the things that were things people said to you, how you
mm,
felt. God is telling you that He's doing a new thing. So it is,
mm.
it depends on you to find whatever is causing it and name that voice that is in your head and tell yourself, is
Mm,
it true? Just there are some things that, we hear in our head. When you actually sit down to analyze it critically, you find out that it's
mm,
actually a lie. It's not true. It's not
mm,
true. They say, well, you're not intelligent. But you passed that exam or but you know how
mm,
to cook. That's a form of intelligence. Like there are different forms of
mm.
intelligence. You don't have to be first in class. You can
Yeah.
be the best at shoemaking or the best cook. So that's
Mm,
where your own intelligence lies. So when you critically, you know, try to understand the voice in your head, you realize that it's
mm,
actually lying most of the time. And
mhm.
then we also need to move
Absolutely.
away from, trying to be perfect, you know, planning over arranging, but
Mm, mm,
going anyway. The truth is that your confidence, grows after you've taken action. So tell yourself, I'm going to move, irrespective of the turmoil inside my head. What is
yeah.
happening? I'm
Yeah.
supposed to move. I'm going to move. You know, find evidence to always back up. that negative voice. Like I said, so
Mm,
when you found that evidence, make sure you know it. So when that thing says, oh, you did not prepare enough, it says, but I read, I did
mm,
this line and I studied for 10 hours, so I know what I'm doing. I
mm,
will be fine. So always have evidence to back up the feeling that usually comes up, when you have to show up, you know, feel like
mm,
you're try to replace perfection with making progress. The truth is that some of
mm,
us is fear that holds us back. It's the bottom line is fear. So
mm.
God said He has not given us the spirit of fear. So once
No.
you have that at the back of your mind, imposter syndrome has nothing on you. You just move because
Yes.
I mean you have faith. You're a child of God, so just move. You'll be all right. You'll
So,
be all right.
I mean, I like the fact that you've given us a number of practical things that you have personally done to help you with your imposter syndrome episodes. I mean, I think that here I would like to ask the question for the women who are joining us online who are asking that, okay, so Doc, I hear you. You said I need to know that God has not given me a spirit of fear and I need to just, walk in whom God has called me to be. But sometimes we try, right? And when we try, the world doesn't respond the way we expect. So, for example, somebody says, okay, so God has asked me to do something. I feel like, okay, this is what He's calling me to do. I go up and I put up an Instagram post to say, okay, this is what God is asking me to do, and I'm ready to do it now. And then no response. Nobody is responding. How am I supposed to handle this? How am I supposed to deal with this? How do I not retreat again and say, hey, oh, this is why we don't used to come outside. Please let me just go back and hide in my shell. What do you want to say to that woman who is trying to come out, who is trying to, believe that she has it all and she can do things, but then the world is not giving her the response that she wants? What should we say to her?
Okay, what I'll say is that especially in an environment where I used to Jehovah sharp sharp, we
Mm,
want results quick, 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 quick. For
mm,
example, I also have an Instagram, I mean a YouTube live I do every Sunday. I've
mm,
been doing it for about 5 months now, and some
mm.
days I'm alone on my life,
Yeah.
but I show up anyway. If it's something God has called you to do, you have to be consistent. You have to be patient. You have to just keep
Mm,
going. One day,
mm,
it's going to click. One day, you it shows that
mm,
it's not about the numbers. It may just be
mm,
one person that God has actually called you to. And that one
mm.
person is actually getting what they need
The
to
value.
get.
Yeah.
So it's not about the numbers. It's not about, how many people, applaud you. It shows that sometimes when you even start, people are saying, okay, for example, I'm in dermatology. I'm just being
Mm,
frank. Some people actually feel like I should stick to dermatology. I should stop,
mm,
mixing confidence and all. So they feel like, oh, you're deviating from the course. It has to be teaching dermatology. Book, 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 book,
mm,
book. There are a lot of people that have come to say that to me, and
mm,
but I know that's not the only thing. That's not the thing. That's not the only thing I'm meant to be doing because
mm.
I feel like it's deeper. For example, when I look at skin bleaching, for example, I know that it's not just about the bleaching, it's about
Yeah.
this person's mind, the confidence, they lack confidence in themselves, so they are trying to get it from outside. So,
External source.
it, so this is what I know that I should be doing. So, irrespective of what people are saying, just keep going, just keep pushing, just keep
Mm,
showing up, and
mm,
forget the numbers, forget who is applauding you. At the right
mm,
time,
mm.
once you're doing what you need to do, it's going to click. It's going to show. It's going
Absolutely.
to, and once you're doing it, you're growing. With time, people start to see it. People start to notice you.
Yep.
It's that because Brenda, I'm sure that when you started, you still had
Mm,
issues too. I'm sure,
yes.
but is the consistency, is the growth becoming better? Just keep at it.
Mm,
Once is what you're meant to be. Once is what if what you heard from God, you're going to be fine at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Once it's what you heard from God, that is really critical because, part of our topic today here says, imposter syndrome in real life, when you are called but still feel adequate. Some of us are actually do hear the call, like you hear it as clear as you hear your name, as clear as Abraham had to get up, take that boy, go to the mountain and slaughter him. You hear it. Some of us hear it that clearly. Some of us see it. Some of us see visions. We see what God wants us to do. We know for certain that this is the next step, right? However, we still feel like, I think I need a certification. I think I need to go and learn something. I think I need that. What do we need to say to people who are still feeling inadequate to carry on the role that God has called them to carry?
So that's the perfectionism we're talking about. You don't
Mm,
learn by staying in one place, you learn by moving. So the
mm.
more you do something, the more you get better. So someone that has been planning, sorry, can you still see me, please?
No, the
Okay.
video went. Wait. Okay,
Okay.
it's back.
So imagine someone that wanted to start, for example, a YouTube live, and they want to get
Mm,
equipment, they want to learn how to do it course.
mm,
And the person just, keeps planning. Somehow they never get to do it. But the person that just had the thought and went on, did the first one, it didn't go
mm,
well. Learn from their
mm,
mistake. They did the next one, learn from mistake. Did the one that
mm,
learned, and they kept going. So by the time you're taking 2 months to prepare, in 2 months, that person
mm,
that moved, despite feeling inadequate, has learned
mm.
from their mistakes.
Yeah.
Also, they are learning, they may be doing the courses, they may be doing it on the side, getting knowledge,
Mm,
but they are moving as they are getting it. So in 2 months, both of you cannot be in the same place. That person
absolutely.
has both experience, knowledge, and no, and you're just trying to start. So you still have
Yeah.
2 months of making mistakes,
To catch up
to
too.
to catch up with. So it's not necessary. If you're called,
Mm.
just start with what you have and then move.
Yeah, absolutely. Start with what you have. And you know how they say that, oh, people who sit and say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm waiting for clarity, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for that. And I just want to let you know today that clarity comes in the doing. It is when you move that things become clear. You have to actually get up, move, and make a step. It is the steps that you make that continue to bring clarity and bring clearness to the matter at hand. Because God doesn't ever show us the full picture. Very, very often He shows people the full picture. And even those who think they've shown them the full picture, there's still much more that you are not yet seeing in that picture. So this is how God works with us. This is how He expects us to trust him and follow the steps, because the idea is just to take the step. And even when you cannot see the full picture, I mean, imagine Abraham. Hey, God of mercy. Just imagine Abraham. He spent how many years waiting for a child? God told him he
Mhm,
would have a child. The child said he didn't see it until how many years after? When they had even
mhm,
gone all the rigmarole way, going to look for Ishmael,
mhm.
doing all the problem. He now finally has the child. Then you now say to him, Abraham, get up, carry this your son. Yes, your only son. Go and sacrifice him to me on the like.
I can only
Look,
imagine how
are
that
you
conversation went.
are you kidding right now? Like, really? This Bible did not record that Abraham stopped to think. The Bible did not record that he asked Sarah what she thought. He did not record that he spent the whole night brooding. The Bible recorded that very early the next morning, Abraham set out. Listen, I have questions to ask Father Abraham because what? What?
Imagine how the journey to the slaughter was between him and his son.
What are you
What he
talking
would have
about?
picked.
Then the boy was even like, so father, we have the wood, we have the this thing. Where is the sacrifice? Father said, don't worry, God will provide. He was still making joke. When you were planning to slaughter me. Like, what would he have told the son when he tied him on the thing? You know another thing that he did? He took away, he told the servants to wait. He didn't want any interruption, anybody that would
Mhm.
convince him or confuse him or anything. He told them to wait. And he went on with the boy. And when the boy was saying, "Where's the animal?" he said, "God will provide." Because somewhere in the back of his mind, he knew that the God was a good God and God would not want him to sacrifice his son. He knew that God was going somewhere. But I mean, how do we get to that level of trust? How do we get to that level of belief that we are able to show up? Regardless, we don't know. We cannot see the full picture. We don't know what we're supposed to sacrifice. We cannot tell what we're supposed to do next. All we just know is that, okay, this is the move now. Okay, Lord, I move. This is the next step. Okay, Lord, thank you. This is the next step. Okay, I hear you. But you have to keep moving. You must move, regardless of whether you feel prepared or not. In fact, at this point, I think I'm preaching to myself right now. You must move, regardless of how unprepared that you feel.
Exactly. Exactly. It's very important. It's very important, and a lot of us are stuck in that space. A lot of
Mm,
I have a friend. I'm sure if she watches this, she'll kill me. She's brilliant. She's intelligent. I've been saying, oh, come online. People need to hear
mm,
what you. She's a doctor. She's a professional in her field, and I'm like,
mm,
come on. She said, oh, I want to buy lights. Oh, I want to learn how to do YouTube. I want to do
mhm,
this one. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll just.
mhm.
And she's also a marriage counselor. And she does it so well. She has been doing it for 13 years. And I've been
Wow.
harassing her, just do it. Like, and she used to do it for
Mhm,
free now. She now has the courage, she has trauma, courage to chat. And I'm like, you're good at this thing. Just move. We have been planning for 2 years, almost 2 years.
mm.
In fact, I'll send her this so that she will know that I use that as an example. We
We
have been
dragged you
planning
online.
exactly. She has been planning for 2 years. And I don't
Wow.
see the reason why. But she wants it to be perfect. Perfect
Mm,
lighting, the right phone,
mm,
the right
mm,
this, the right that. But the knowledge is there.
mm,
You're saying something with time, you make mistakes. For example, now, like just joining your life, I've realized something I should be doing on my own life that I have not done before, like how I should, make it work. Because I'll
mm,
start this thing, I will be up and down. I don't know how to arrange the camera. I'll
mm,
go online, it will log me up. I don't know how to log back. And we were
mm.
just doing like that, doing like that. But as you watch the videos, you'll be seeing those mishaps with time.
Yeah,
I realize it's getting better. We're not yet there yet,
yeah.
but I cannot tell you, oh, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that.
Mm,
I wouldn't do that because I just got up and started doing it. Even,
mm,
while I don't feel like I had the skill set and the, things I needed to, move. So it's really
mm.
important because this is like faith. Your if you say you
Yeah,
have faith, you can't let faith and fear are two sides of a coin. So if you have
absolutely.
faith, you shouldn't let fear come in. So you should believe that wherever God is leading you, He knows what He's doing. So just follow.
Mm,
Your own is to follow.
yeah.
And then you'll get to that place where you're supposed to be. And then your eyes, it's like there's this analogy they usually use, using it when you're driving at night. You
Mm,
just see a portion of the road.
yeah.
You don't see the destination, but you have faith that your light will keep guiding you. So
Yes.
that's what it is like when you
Mm,
drive, as you're moving, as you're doing, you start seeing it starts
it's
becoming
clear.
clear. You now know
Mm,
where you're supposed to go to. Even it's also okay to turn back when you've gone the wrong
mm,
direction. It's still okay. So
absolutely.
we should extend grace to ourselves, not judge
Mm-hmm,
yourself too much
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
be too rigid. Just
mm.
do. If somehow you've missed your way, do a U-turn.
So you'll
It's
be
just that
back.
we put too much emphasis on what people are going to think, what's this one, what people are
Mm.
going to say. But truth is that nobody's really thinking about you.
They don't
You're
really
just
care like
thinking,
that
they're
too.
thinking about you. Everybody has their own
I
problem.
promise you, they don't care like that. They don't really care like
It's like
that.
that. So it's just in our head.
They will only give you space. I mean, they'll give you a bit of their time if your gist brings comes their way. After that, they
Exactly. That's
keep
it.
moving.
People have their own problem. So the way you think is in your head is not the way it is. So just do and be
Mm,
going.
mm,
Once you have that
mm,
mentality that you should just do and be going, you don't,
mm.
you just, the perfection, being perfect just goes away. Imposter syndrome just
Yeah.
leaves and you just do
Yes.
what you have to do.
Because at the root of imposter syndrome is fear. That's what it is. It's
Exactly.
just a fear. It's a fear that, oh, what if, I'm not as good as I think that I am? What if I mess this up? What if people laugh at me? What if people
Mhm.
don't accept me? What if not?
Exactly.
What if it doesn't happen?
Yes. At the end of life, you ask yourself, there are some things I tell myself, if I'm old, if I do not
Mm,
try this thing, how will I, what will I think? Like, will I feel like I have missed something? Because the
mm,
truth is that some things you want to do, if you don't try it, you always ask yourself, what if? So why don't you just find out whether it's going to work or it's not going to work? Just do it. What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work. As simple as that. What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work. And that's it. So it's
mm.
it's pertinent that we, you know, push it away and just
Absolutely. I mean, I just want to encourage as many people as possible that are here thinking about this, that, you know, every time you find yourself faced with the fact, faced with fear, where you say, oh, I can't do this. What if it doesn't work? What if not? One of my coaches told me once that we all meditate, whether we like it or not. Guess what? When we worry, we are meditating on the outcomes that we do not want.
exactly.
Do you understand? So there are like 100. You know how in maths they say there's probability, right? There's maybe 100% probability of
Yes.
something happening. So let's say you are saying, for example, oh, what if this thing I want to do will not work? So mathematically, it's a 50-50 probability, right? So
Mhm.
you are spending time dwelling on the 50% probability that it will not work. When you can be spending time dwelling on the 50% that it will work. And guess what? Whatever you dwell on, whatever you focus on magnifies.
Exactly.
So if you
Exactly.
focus on, oh, this is going to work, this is going to work so well, I'm going to be so good at this, you
Mhm.
start to see
Mhm.
evidence of it working. But if you sit and say, hey, this thing will not work, oh. Hey, this how this thing will be,
Mhm.
this how this will be, you wake up and you start to see evidence of it not being. You know,
Mhm.
say, I said it, but because you did say it, right?
Mhm.
The Bible does say
Yeah.
that, it will happen, that the mouth is powerful and the words are powerful, and everything that we
Mhm.
give word to, we're giving life to. So today, instead of giving life to those fears, giving words and life to those fears, give word and life to the outcomes that you
Mhm.
actually do want to see. You want it to be
Yes,
amazing.
exactly.
You want it to work. You want it to do. So then give life to it. Give
Mhm.
words, give life to what you want to see, not what you don't want to see. If we can only
Yes.
switch our perspectives today, imposter syndrome will be a thing of the past. Fear.
Mhm.
What's the fear about?
Exactly. It's all about the mind. There's like I read a book, The Secret. This is from another angle by
Mm-hmm.
Rhonda Bynes, and he was talking about the law of attraction. So that when you say it's just basically what the Bible says. So when
Mm-hmm.
you say something, the world doesn't know whether it's positive or negative. So when you focus
Mm.
on something, that thing
It just
comes
brings it
to
to you. It
it
brings
just
it to
brings
you.
it to you. And that, so when you now focus on, the positive things, somehow things start to align to make that thing work for
Mhm.
you because that's where your focus is.
Absolutely.
So you
Absolutely.
attract what you get. So even when, okay, just like I never say, in my husband, you don't say I'm broke. Like, I don't say I'm broke because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people as I'm broke. If people say to dodge from something, yeah, say you're
Mm-hmm.
broke. The universe doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
It starts to bring broke to you. You start to
Darkness
see that.
away.
So I've read, so anytime I find myself asking, oh, what happened to my money? So I ask myself, what have you been thinking? Have you been worrying
Mm.
about money? Have you been worrying about this? And most times I've been worrying. So I was like,
Mm.
worrying is giving power to the, devil. It's like the it's
Mm.
it doesn't get you anywhere. It just makes things worse. So why dwell on it? Yeah, it can be
Mm.
hard for us not to worry. We're human beings. But like I said, when those thoughts come to your head, always have a
Mm.
counter thoughts
Yes,
that,
be prepared with the scripts that can counter them.
yes, that can counter it so that you can realign. And
Mm.
this, okay, for example, what the last exam, I thought I failed an exam. The last exam when I finally passed that exam, I realized that my
Mm.
problem was the fear of the exam. Because when I
Mm.
started the residency, everybody before me, they had written the exam 5 times, 10 times. So I was afraid of the exam. So I went
Mm.
for the first time fear took
Mm,
over. The second time, fear took over. Now, the third time, I had written,
mm,
we had this MCQ and we have the practical parts. So the MCQ,
mm,
you had to pass it to get to the practical. So I had written the MCQ and I was
mm,
discussing with a friend and I was like, this exam, I've written it 3 times and I failed it
mm,
3 times. And she just said to me, shut up. What is the
mm,
exam? The result hasn't come out and I already decided you failed. So that was when
mm,
it clicked. I was like, my mind is in the wrong place. So, the exams, we had what we call West Africa National. We have NECO and WAYE. So this was the
mm,
West Africa which I had written. And not surprisingly, that result came out. This was my third attempt at the West Africa, and I failed it.
mm,
So, but I still had the
mm,
national to prepare for. I'll tell you, all I did, I was radical, was to change my mind. I
mm.
didn't read more. It was just like 2 months to the next exam, no, a month plus to the national exam. I went
Wow.
online, I got Bible verses, you know, that I put all my past questions, I wrote them at the head of the Bible, this and that, that told me I'm good, that way will support, that I could
Yeah.
call on when I felt bad. And I went wrote affirmations. I am intelligent. I read once I understand. If you see my
Mm,
laptop, then I pasted it all over my laptop. I even went as far as downloading an app where I wrote
mm,
my affirmations every morning to remind me. I'll say,
mm.
I passed the exam, I will do this. So I started to work on my mind. So the only
Yeah.
thing I changed in that exam was my mind. And even close to the exam, I had
Mm,
issues that made me not to, read for that exam because my mother-in-law came in, she
mm,
was sick. I didn't have a house help. I had 2 small children. My house help disappeared. So I was running
mm,
up and down. But somewhere in my mind, it was
mm,
made up. I told myself, I am passing this exam anyhow.
mm,
That
mm.
I know I'll pass. So after I got to the exam venue, first
Yeah.
exam was kind of, difficult and all. I came back, me and my colleague, we cried. Oh. We're like, hey, we are going to fail this exam again. That was the first leg
Mm,
of the exam. Listen, I slept. But because my mind, I had been working on it, I just got up. I just told her, how many marks do we have
mm,
in the next one? How many marks? So she said 100
mm,
marks. That's what we're fighting for. And I said, how many? She said 300. I was like, 300. I was like, we'll pass this exam. I'll pass. She was just
mm.
looking at me like, what happened to you? But, I had been psyching my head. So when I got to the
Yes.
exam, the final day, every room I entered, if you've seen all the way exams are, it's like they'll ring a bell. You open the door. Anything you see, you take, you come out. You see like two
Mm,
professors answer question, you enter the next room.
yes.
Every room I entered, it was as if they blew a wind. I say, this girl, that's her. Like I even entered the room and they said 1990, the
Mm,
favored number. That's what my examiner said. It was like I was having lectures with them. It wasn't like it was like the end of the exam at my last station. I asked myself, was it just an exam? So my mind had already, me
mm.
being positive, had already prepared a way for me. So by the time I got
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
that's working on, instead of worrying, I had switched it to having faith. So I believed I was going to pass. So
Yeah.
even at the end, I didn't have any doubts. Like, at the end of the exam, you now line up. There was someone that was entering the rooms after me. God didn't want me to have any doubts. The
Mm,
man just turned and looked at me and said, Doctor, you did very well. This is my fellow candidate. He said, you did very well. I was looking at him like, okay. That was the exam I passed. So I tell people that the only thing I changed that exam, it wasn't that I read
mm,
more because circumstances did not let me, read more. Do you get? But
mm,
I failed the exam twice. This was the third time I was writing it. But I just changed my mind, my belief system. I
mm.
removed fear and replaced it with belief. And that was just it that did it for me.
Absolutely. 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 I mean, and I think that we've learned something critical here today, which is the fact that, imposter syndrome happens to the best of us. It happens to everybody. People have struggled with it. And if you find that, I mean, we've shared ways of knowing whether that's what is going on with you. If you can identify it, it's okay. It's a first step to healing out of it. The second step is to realize that at the base of everything is a fear. It's a fear that you may not be good enough. It's a fear that people may not like you. It's a fear that you may not achieve what it is you set out to. And we just want to remind you that the Spirit of the Lord that has been given to us is not one of fear, it's of courage, it's of sound mind. Right. And so God has spent the entire Bible. There is 356 places It just says, do not be afraid. God says, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Every morning, wake up and tell yourself that God has told you to not be afraid. Brenda, do not be afraid. Look yourself in the eye and say to yourself, I will not be afraid. And going into the day, preparing yourself scripts to counter the fear when it comes, because it will come. What is that thing you're afraid of? Is that exam you want to go and write? Or is that board presentation you want to go and make? Or is that interview, that job interview? Or is the scholarship interview? Whatever it is that you're trying to do, or you're going to go and pitch for a job, whatever it is that you're going to go and do that you're afraid of, prepare yourself with the scripts. Look yourself in the mirror. Prepare yourself in front of a mirror and speak the words to yourself. I have got this. I am amazing. Okay, so I watched this movie yesterday, the Michael Jackson movie that had just come
Yeah,
out. I watched it yesterday. Mind blown. In fact, up to yesterday, I didn't even know there was a movie like that. I had heard it was coming out, but I didn't know it was out. Right. So my husband just called me that he was going to watch. I said, leave me alone. That's how it come to business. But what I learned in that movie was I found out that when Michael wanted to create, he would stand in front of the mic and he would say to himself, you are the greatest. You are the greatest. You are the greatest. And he would now open his mouth and he would sing. They showed how he used to create his music end to end. He would be the one to give the beatbox, all of in fact, the producers were following what he was doing because he believed he was amazing. He believed he was a creator. He believed he was the greatest. And he would go out and he would create it. So whatever it is that you believe is what you will produce. You need to start with the mind, start with your mental state, and tell yourself that you are the greatest. Tell yourself that you are the best. He would lie down in the field and they would say, what are you doing there? He said, I'm here receiving the next best song from God. And he said, if I don't stay here to receive it, God is going to give it to Prince. Prince is another musician. It was so funny, and he knew who he was. He when he would meet with the executives, he would tell them, "I want to be the greatest. I want to be the best. I want to be the best there ever was." He was clear on what he wanted, and he went for it, everything that he got. So all of us can be like that. But what do you really want? I know that they've told you sometime in your life that, oh, you're not so great, or you're not so, keep quiet, you talk too much. It's not people like you that, or you failed, or the system has made you think that you don't know anything. Guess what? A fish will never win in a race for birds. Sometimes the failure that you feel in those exams is because it was set without you in mind, without your awesomeness in mind. You are amazing how you are. God sat down, he formed you with his hands. When he was creating the heavens and the earth, he spoke. But when he wanted to create you, he sat down and he formed you carefully, hand by hand, and he breathed life into you. That is how much of a big deal that you are. So don't let imposter syndrome, don't let fears, don't let anything tell you that you're different. Just remind yourself who you are in Christ. And then go for it. Go for it. I hope you've been able to learn something amazing here today. I have learned a lot from Dr. Chinsom. I mean, I was just taking the tips from her. I'm like, okay, I can do that one, so I can do that. And it's been such an amazing time here with us today. Dr. Chinsom, before you go, please tell people how they can reach you in case they want to, get some dermatology and some confidence from you. How can we find you? How can we reach you? And then when you tell us how we can reach you, you can also tell us one last thing that you want us to remember from today's conversation. What can we remember that we can hold on to and say, I'm thinking about this imposter syndrome. This is one thing I will not forget. Please let us know.
Okay, thank you, Coach Brenda. I had a wonderful time here with you today. Okay, you can reach me. You can follow me on Instagram at the Skin Confident Derm and on YouTube at the Skin Confidence Institute. I have a live session every Sunday by 8:30, which is called Flow into the Week. So please do well to join us. And you can
Okay.
also follow my page, Skin Confidence Institute on Facebook. So,
Mm,
yes, what I want you to remember, just know that you're bigger than your fears.
mm.
Remember, you're bigger than your fears. Just have that at the back of your mind. So, anytime that fear comes to hug you, comes to show it on its first face, just tell yourself, I'm bigger than this. I'm bigger than this. And move.
Yeah,
Irrespective
that's
of the outcome, you're going to be all right.
You'll be all right, so I
Exactly.
promise you, you'll be all right. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing time hanging out with you guys today. This is another episode of your favorite program, Women's Matters, brought to you by the beautiful women of Women's Growth Academy. It's a community of women who love God and who are committed to personal growth and development in their Christian walk and in changing the world as a whole. If you want to join us, you can join us from the link in our Instagram bio. Is Women's Growth Academy on Instagram, and there's a link in the bio to join us into our WhatsApp community, where we share everything from the Word of God daily, even to thoughts about our lives and how we grow better. We also come to you live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. WAT, here on YouTube, where we discuss issues that affect women. We have amazing guests like we had Dr. Chinson here today, and we just share different issues and we just learn and grow with each other. And until I come your way, same time next week, my name is Brenda Unu, and it's been an absolute delight hanging out with you tonight. Thank you so much for coming, Dr. Chimso, and good
Thank you, ma'am.
night.
Good night.